This is a wages calculation question. Now the example I'm using is the 2013 paper 1 question 6 A part 2. So 2013 paper 1 question 6A part 2. And it said complete Patricia's wage slip for week number 26 using the blank document on page 14 of the questions. Page 14 of section A. Show your workings. This is always important with wages calculation questions. Always show your workings. If you don't show your workings and you make a mistake, you will get no marks. So you must show your workings to pick up marks in case you make a mistake. And in more recent years in the junior certificate, they've started providing space on the paper for you to show your workings. So you must use that space. So, this question says, Patricia Kane is employed as a chef at Lanny Cafe Limited. Her normal working week is 39 hours, but occasionally she works overtime. Her basic wage rate is €702 for a 39-hour week. So that's basic pay. Pay for your normal working week. She gets €702. Overtime is time and a half for the first 5 hours and double time for hours in excess of that. In week 26, she worked 45 hours. Patricia pays PAYE at a rate of 41% and PRSI USC at 10.5%. Her annual tax credit is €6,240. She pays €24 for health insurance and invests €50 in a savings fund. Her employer deducts both of these at source. At source meaning they come out of her pay slip. She doesn't go home and pay her health insurance separately herself. It's taken directly by her employer out of her payslip and given to the health insurance company. Okay, so part 2, we're going to complete her payslip. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to work out, well, what does Patricia pay per hour? And we take her gross wage of €702 and we divide it by the number of hours that Patricia works in the week, and Patricia works 39 hours in the week, so obviously that means that her wage rate is €18 per hour. Okay, now how many hours overtime is she working? Well, this week she's working 45 hours. She normally works 39 hours, which means she's doing 6 hours overtime. Now, those 6 hours are divided into, it tells us, time and a half for the first 5 hours and double time for anything in excess of that. So the first 5 hours are going to be a time and a half, and then that's by her wage rate per hour, which is €18. If you want to multiply by time and a half, just multiply by 1.5 by €18, and that works out at 135. Sorry, I'll put the euro sign in. €135. And then hours in excess of that are paid at double time. She has 1 hour in excess of that from her 6 hours overtime. So 1 hour at double time by 2 by her normal wage rate. So she gets €36 for that. Which gives a total overtime of 171. And then her basic is 702. Actually, let's bring this out here just to make it a bit neater. Plus the basic of 702, giving a total gross wage of 873. So that is gross pay. Now, you see that I'm writing something opposite most figures I'm writing something. Really, every figure should have a detail opposite it. So time and a half, that's 135, double time, this is the basic, this is the gross pay. Do not leave just random figures on the page. It should be logical. If someone picks it up, they should be able to see what's going on. Next, we're going to look at the PAYE. Now, the first thing we have to calculate the PAYE is how much of a tax credit she's getting. We know a tax credit is a reduction you get in your income tax given to you by the government. And we're told that her annual tax credit is 6240. Now, if we're doing her weekly pay slip, obviously we divide 6240 by 52 to get the amount of tax credits that will apply to this particular week. And that is 120. So she's 120 euros of tax credits in this particular week. Okay, gross PAYE. Gross PAYE is the PAYE before you take away the tax credit. And we're told she pays PAYE. She's a PAYE worker. She's an employee. Her employer takes the income tax off her and gives it to the government. She pays it as she earns it. She doesn't do a tax return every year. And that is taken from her gross pay of 873, and we get 41% of that. And that is it's the bell here in school. And we continue on, which is 357.93. And then we take away the tax credit from that to get her net PAYE. Now, a common mistake that people make is they add up the PAYE, PRSI and all of that, all the deductions, and they take away the tax credit at the end. You will get the same answer at the end, but your method is incorrect, because your tax credit is there to reduce your PAYE only. It is not there to reduce your PRSI or the USC that you owe to the government. It's only there to reduce your income tax. So therefore it should only be shown to reduce income tax in the particular question. Okay, the last thing you have to calculate is the universal social charge and PRSI. Now they've combined them in this question. In real life they're two separate taxes. The PRSI in theory is your contribution to the social welfare system, and the universal social charge was a special tax brought in when the public finances were in a mess in 2008, 2009. We still have it. It still comes out of people's pay slips. So, and they tell us that's 10.5%, and that is taken as a percentage of one's gross pay. So all your earnings together. And 10.5% there is 91.67. Okay, so then we're going to sub the important figures back in here. So I'm going to mark off the we're going to sub all the figures into the payslip then, the important figures. So the first one is basic, and that was 702. Sorry, I'm just going to center all the figures here. The next one was total overtime. Total overtime here is 171, which we know gives a gross pay of 873. The tax credit, just throw in the figure there for the tax credit of 120 like they've asked. Now, PAYE is the net PAYE figure after you've taken off the tax credit, so it's 237.93. 237.93. The PRSI USC is 91.67, and then remember she pays her health insurance at source, and she pays into a savings scheme at work, which gives the total deductions of 403.60. You take your deductions from your gross pay and your net pay, and this question is 469.40.